With the next patch set to drop this year's December 18th, there's going to be a new continent to explore, the return of the Battle Royale game mode, Plunderstorm, as well as more mounts and rewards. In this video, we'll go over the upcoming new continent, the Siren Isle. To unlock the new continent, we first have to make our way to the Foundation Hall located in Dornegal. As soon as we enter, we'll want to talk to the NPC named Dawn, which will be on the right side of the hallway when we enter. And from her, we'll pick up the quest, The Expedition Awaits, which will prompt us to talk to Skagit, which we'll find on the east gate of Dornegal located here. We'll find this dock area with this Zeppelin parked at the end, and on that ship we'll find the NPC and turn in the quest, and from him we'll be taken to investigate the new continent. After we finish the introductory quest to unlock access to the Siren Isles, we'll be able to travel between Gundergaz in the Ringing Deeps to the Siren Isle via mole machine traversal. Once we arrive here in the new continent, we'll continue along, and during the questline we'll be unlocking more and more features tied to the new zone, and in total there's going to be 12 quests in this series, starting from the quest The Expedition Awaits, and it will end with The Uncovered Mysteries. During this questline, we'll also be given this catch-up ring called Circe's Circlet that we can upgrade all the way to item level 639. As implied, the ring will be given as a way of powering up our alts in this new continent. The ring will have 3 sockets which can be socketed with the Citron gems, which have a variety of effects, ultimately giving us some flexibility in terms of building up the ring. And on top of that, we can even upgrade it using the raw singing citrine, which we will receive throughout the main quests and weeklies in the Siren Isles. As each week passes by, we'll be given more chances to discover each of these citrine gems, and the benefits will vary depending on the gem socketed, of course. Now that we're in the Siren Isles, I'll be going over each of the new content that we can go for, as well as achievements tied to them. So along with this new zone, there's going to be a total of 9 achievements arriving. And one of these achievements will reward us with the new boat mount, the Breaker's Song, rewarded from the achievement I'll Remember You. As for the other 8 achievements tied to the new continent, they are going to be Explore the Siren Isles, which requires us to explore the isle, which is pretty straightforward. The next one is Siren Squall, which requires us to complete the following quests during a storm on the Siren Isles. I'll talk more about the storm phase in a bit. The next one is going to be Treasures of the Storm, which requires us to open 10 runed storm caches around the continent. The next one up is going to be Acquire of Citrines, which requires us to find each of the 12 gems on the Siren Isles. The next one up is going to be Clean Up on Isle Siren, which is a rare hunting achievement where we'll need to hunt 16 rares. This one will take over a month, since some of the rares only spawn during certain phases of the Siren Isles. And attributed to this as well is that the rares will rotate every week, since the Siren Isle will have a different set of enemies that attack per week. The next achievement is A Song of Secrets, which requires us to finish the questline from the beginning. As I mentioned earlier, The Expedition Awaits, all the way to the end, The Uncovered Mysteries. The next achievement up is going to be Excavation Projects, which requires us to complete all 3 of the excavations on the Siren Isle command map, which is located in our central hub at Flotsam Shore. The next achievement up is called Serenity Now, which requires us to complete the following 18 weekly quests found on Siren Isle. The final achievement is I'll Remember You, which I've covered at the beginning, but to summarize it, we'll need to complete the following 6 achievements in order to get this achievement done, which in turn will reward us with the Breaker's Song mount. Now that I've discussed what's new in terms of the achievement, let's talk about what we can do in the Siren Isles. A new feature added in is called Major Excavations, which will unlock after progressing enough to unlock the main central camp. Here we'll be able to contribute the newest currency added in this patch, called the Flame Blessed Iron, to a faction of our choice. We'll donate these to fill up a faction's bar, and upon filling up one to 100%, the NPCs of that faction will begin to excavate in order to reveal a cave. We'll be given a few minutes of preparation, and once done, we'll be able to enter that cave and fight the rare elite boss inside. As for the factions, we'll be able to side with the dwarves, the goblins, and the Hollowfall Arathli, Each faction has their own set of rewards, but after the first time we complete it per character, subsequent completions of that specific excavation will only reward us with these crates of bygone riches, which reward us with a veteran tier gear of item level 584 and some blessed iron. And take note, once the event is activated, it will be accessible regardless of who contributed. So if somebody does a vault without you, regardless if you did 100% of the bar, you won't get the rewards for it. It does work both ways though. If you did not contribute, but you managed to tag the boss before it died, you will still be rewarded. Next up, we have weekly quests. As of testing, we'll be given 3 weekly quests, which will each reward us with 200 flame blessed iron, 30 valor stones, and 3 carved harbinger crests. In total, we'll be given 800 blessed iron, 120 valor stones, and 12 crests per week from this continent alone. 3 of the weekly quests are picked up from our hub over at Flotsam Shoal, while the 4th one changes location, so we'll need to check the map to see where it's at. In this example, it's Beachcomber, which will be found near Deadfin Mire. As for the 5th and 6th weekly quests, they'll be picked up during the Seafury Tempest event, which I'll touch more about later. Now, as for the side quests, while doing the main storyline, we'll also want to look to incorporate doing the available side quests as well. We'll also be getting these boons, which have a variety of buffs. One of them is going to increase our swim speed, give us the ability to breathe underwater, and as well walk underwater. Additionally, while in the continent, there are these elite world quests. At the time of PTR, we'll only be given 1 per day, and these will reward us with more of these Citrine gems I mentioned earlier, which we can socket to our power ring. The world quests have a daily rotation, so every day we can expect to have a chance of collecting different Citrine gems from them or just veteran tier gear. Tied to the world events, we'll also be given a special assignment. These will change every week, but there's a requirement locked behind it. Upon completion, we'll get a crate of bygone riches that reward us with a veteran tier gear and more flame blessed iron. Now, as an added event, and at the time of PTR testing, we can toggle this event mode on and off at will over at Susie Bolt Wrench, located in our central camp. This event is called the Seafury Tempest. Once we have completed the introductory quest for the event, upon activation, we'll be sent to a storm version of the zone where enemies are enhanced and various different rares will spawn. And this mode will also have different NPCs that offer other weekly quests, giving us an additional 2. Over at Susie Bolt Wrench, we'll want to pick up these optional arsenals. During that buff, we'll have an extra action that we can use. These will help us deal with the enhanced enemies and elites in this area. Some of them allow us to either command a swarm of crawler mines that explode on contact or detonate a large bomb that deals massive damage. It'll be useful since the storm touch mobs are quite tough, especially the rare elites in this phase. As we progress through the Siren Isles, we'll also get additional quests from Susie to help us unlock additional arsenals. Moving on, we'll be talking about the rares of the Siren Isles. Upon PTR testing, they seem to have a chance to drop some weathered harbinger crests, sometimes 2 or 3, as well as flame blessed iron varying between 60 to 100, and sometimes they also do drop valor stones. However, you do have a low drop chance of getting a raw singing citrine, which is what we need to use in order to upgrade our power ring. Notably, the rares have quite a fast respawn timer, but upon succeeding takedowns of that rare, there seems to be no daily loot lockout, but they do give reduced rewards. For example, on my second kill of the same rare on that same day, I only got around 40 flame blessed iron and 1 crest, but there are cases I instead only got 28 and no crest at all. Across the Siren Isle, we'll also be finding these chests which contain more blessed iron, some valor stones, and occasionally even some thunderous fragments which are needed to collect the mount I'll talk later on about. Upon investigation, the Rune storm chests don't seem to have set locations and instead spawn randomly throughout the Siren Isles per character. With that in mind, I'll be showing a map of all the ones I found, and I'll be indicating whether they're found during the storm or not. As for finding these Rune storm chests, we'll be able to tell when one is nearby through this wind indication that starts spiraling out from our character, which then blows in the direction where the hidden chest is. In order to unlock this, we'll first have to finish the Uncovered Mysteries quest, and upon completing this, it'll unlock this boon or feature for all of our future characters who enter the Siren Isles. Now, while hunting for the Rune Storm chests, I'd suggest grabbing some experimental go packs from Sally Bolt Wrench, which makes traversing a lot easier, and we'll be able to buy them for 10 blessed iron for each stack. While going through the main questline for the Siren Isle, we'll have come across the Forgotten Vault, which will be unlocked after completing the quest, Cave Barging. As a PTR testing, it does have limited content. We pretty much only go here when we're doing a weekly quest, which is under the Seafury Tempest phase, and as well as a mount, which I'll talk about during the mount section. Hopefully, when it does go live, they'll have more stuff that we can do here in the Forgotten Vault, but that's going to be it for the Forgotten Vault. For the last section of the video, we'll be going over all of the mounts that are arriving for this patch, as well as how to get them. Take note that these might get changed once the patch goes live, and these are only going to include mounts that we can get in the new continent, the Siren Isles. The first one we're going to talk about is going to be the Prismatic Snapdragon. Near our central hub at Flotsam Shoal, there's a small snapdragon just off to the side next to Zessel Finger Snap, which is going to be this goblin surrounded by snapdragons. The first quest we can pick up from it is called a Lifeline, given by the starving snapdragon runt, and all we'll have to do is speak to Zessel Finger Snap and ask us to help us feed the snapdragon. He'll give us a Kaja Cola braised meat, and from there we'll unlock a daily quest we can pick up from the small starving snapdragon. Similar to Lizzie's Reigns, we'll unlock a quest every day, so we'll have to do up to 10 daily quests in total, and at the end of this we will get them out. As a PTR testing, the majority of the daily quests we'll get from the snapdragon is going to be meat we can gather in the Siren Isles, and it seems that every 2 or 3 days the snapdragon will start to grow up or get bigger each time we feed it meat. On the 10th and final day, we'll be given a quest, a loyal friend from that snapdragon we've been feeding for the past week, and upon turning it in, we will get the mount itself. And what's unique about this mount is that apparently we'll be able to change the color of the prismatic snapdragon depending on what treat we give them. Along with the reward of the mount, we'll be given this item called the teal snapdragon treat, which upon using it will feed it to the snapdragon, and they will now take the color of the teal color variant when summoned. So perhaps once the patch goes live, we'll be able to get different colored treats and feed it to our prismatic snapdragon to change the color variant when we're mounted. The next mount to talk about in the Siren Isles is going to be Thryer, the Eyes of the Siren. During the Seafury Tempest event, we'll want to go into the Forgotten Vault, and once inside, we'll want to head to the eastern room where there's a ritual currently happening. Take note that this ritual won't be present or phased in properly if we're outside of the storm. Upon arriving, we'll see the body of the mount surrounded by 5 rune stones. We'll want to activate all of them to be able to revive the mount Thryer, and to be able to revive it, we'll have to bring 5 corresponding rune keys to each of the stones. And take note, we'll have to do this during an active storm event to use the keys on the stones. It's also worth noting that it's possible that these locations I'm about to share for each key might get changed when the patch goes live. So we'll want to collect the following rune keys: the Turbulent Rune Key, the Whirling Rune Key, Cyclonic Rune Key, Torrential Rune Key, and the Thunderous Rune Key. The Turbulent Rune Key requires us to collect 3 fragments which are scattered around the island. The first is going to be on this garden near this abandoned inn, which is on the center west part of the map. The second rune key is on the southeast side of the map inside the Rotting Hole, which is this cave by the hillside. As for the third and final key, we'll be able to find it in the Spirit Scarred Cave. It'll be this yellow crystal held in the hands of the ghost. It's also worth noting that these are only found during the Seafury's Tempest phase. Now, as for the Whirling Rune Key, it drops from the rare Sphere the Forgotten, located in the southernmost part room of the Forgotten Vault. Take note that in order for the rare to drop the key, we'll have to defeat them during the storm, and it will be a guaranteed drop. Now for the Cyclonic Rune Key, it will drop from Zekul, the Shipbreaker, found in Deadfin Mire. Upon testing, it did take me up to 3 attempts before it finally dropped for me, so we can safely assume that it does not have a 100% drop chance, but since the rares do have a relatively short respawn timer, this could take up to half an hour for you to get the key, depending on your luck of course and RNG. As for the Torrential Rune Key, it has a low drop chance from pretty much any storm-touched mob, so from elites, the rares, or normal mobs during the Seafury Tempest phase. Lastly, for the Thunderous Rune Key, this one needs a total of 5 fragments, which we can get from both inside and out of the storm. We can either collect the big chests spread around the zone, which are the Rune Storm chest, led to us by the wind spiraling out from our character, or by farming the Seafarer's caches, which are found all over the island. Once we have all 5, and then head to the ritual site. We'll want to reactivate each of the pillar, and upon completion, we'll get a quest from the mount itself. Turning that in will give us the mount. Now, moving on to the last portion of the video, we'll talk about the vendors here in the Siren Isles. In general, we'll be able to buy cosmetics, transmogs, and catch-up gear for our alts, and these gear levels are going to be 584, so they're going to be veterans here. As a BTR, there are vendors here in the Siren Isles who sell citrine gems, so whether or not Blizzard gives them more things to sell, we don't know, but as of the time of making this video, here are the gems that they sell. From Diddy the Wrench, we'll be able to purchase the Thunderlord's Crackling Citrine for 50 Blessed Iron, which is that new currency that we talked about earlier. Nearby is going to be Angorla, who we initially received our power ring from. This vendor will sell us the Wind Singer's Rune Citrine for 50 as well. Next up is Apprentice Tanmar, who sell us the Mariner's Hallowed Citrine, which is a Singing Sea Citrine for 50 Blessed Iron. Now keep in mind, we're not sure if these are the only gems they will sell, since that's all they have as of BTR testing. But who knows, maybe they'll add more wares to their arsenal when the patch goes live. The next vendor up is going to be Tal Jory, who is a native of the Siren Isles. They'll mainly sell us cosmetics around the theme of the weekly attackers that change on the Siren Isles. So the cosmetics are themed after pirates, the Vrykul, and the Naga. The vendor will have a total of 7 ensembles that they sell, each going for 3,000 Blessed Iron, while their other cosmetics cost below 350, and the cheapest item they sell is yet another citrine called the Seabed Leviathan Citrine for 50 Blessed Iron. The next vendor up is going to be the Earthen Dwarven Quartermaster, Argarom. This is the vendor that sells our catch-up gear, so with that in mind, when our alts go into the Siren Isles and they're under-geared, we can spare some Blessed Iron to gear them up so that they can take on the tough enemies around the Siren Isles. For the gear, the majority of the items are below 350 Blessed Iron each, so to get the full set including the necklaces, rings, and trinkets, it'll cost above 2,000 Blessed Iron. Now over by the mole machine, which we use to traverse between the Ringing Deeps and the Siren Isles, the vendor here is going to be the Hooded Purveyor. We'll be able to purchase more cosmetic items like tabards, weapons, and the backpack transmog. They have one ensemble which costs 3,000, while the rest of the items will cost below 500. The next vendor up is going to be Ilinda Hedgemire, which is the Arathi Expedition Quartermaster, which is located also in the hub. They will mainly sell us Arathi-themed transmogs, which include recolors of the Arathi ensemble, and they also sell Arathi-themed helmets and shoulder pieces. The vendor has 2 ensembles that they sell, each going for 3,000, while the rest of the gear or items will be below the price range of 350. Now as for the last vendor, it'll be Sowazy, selling us tropical and beach transmogs, as well as another Goblin Wave Shredder mount. Aside from the obvious mount we'll want to save up for, Sowazy will be selling summer wear, attire, and cosmetics centered around, well, swimming clothes. The mount itself will cost about 10,000 Flame Blessed Iron, so if you are a mount collector, it'd be advisable to save up for this, but luckily the currency is transferable between our characters, so once the patch goes live, we can look to farm Flame Blessed Iron by unlocking the Siren Isles multiple times with our alts. While I was getting footage and gathering data for the video, I was surprised to find out that it took me a total of 4 characters to get up to 10,000 Blessed Iron, and that's just doing the main content. Each of them did the introductory quest line of the Siren Isles as well as the weekly quests, and that's just about an hour or 2 hours of game time, so it was relatively easy to get this amount. But that's about it for this video. If you found something new or you're excited about the Siren Isles, do let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.